Okay, good. So we're recording now. And Ethan, thank you so much for the reminder. In the future, if I start and I forget to push the record button, please just tell me, like Ethan did. Any other questions for review?
Yeah, I have a question for section 5.8 in Zybooks.
All right.
Hold on. 5.8.2, 5.8.2 challenge activity, nested loops, print rectangle.
Okay, so let's go here. 5.8, and then this one.
Yeah, 2.
Okay, so given a number of rows and a number of columns, write nested loops to print a rectangle. So here's a 2 and 3. So let's make sure, first of all, we know which is which. So 3 is the number of columns because I'm seeing 3 columns, and 2 is the number of rows. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So which one, this is a chapter on nested loops, right? So which one do you think of rows and columns will be the one, the first, the outer loop? That's a question for anybody.
Oh.
But Vincent, if you have an answer, go right ahead. Okay, anybody? Which one should be the outer loop? So in other words, which one should go, which loop should go fastest? So that would be the inner loop.
Inner loop.
It looked like these should go fastest because there's 3 of these for every 1 row.
Okay.
Okay, so the columns will be the inner loop. So the rows will be the outer loop. Okay, let's run it.
Let me numerals. First, let's see in range. Num columns.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So remember, the lecture is being recorded, so we can move on more quickly, since you can come back to the recording later. Okay. Are there other questions?
I had a question on the 5.8.3. So the one right below it. I was having trouble.
Oh, okay. Here. Well, that's handy. Given num rows and num columns, print a list of all seats in the theater. The rows are numbered and the rows are numbered and the columns have letters. So 1A, 3E, etc. Print a space after each seat. So once again, first thing to do is figure out which one is the rows and which one is the columns. So I'm seeing 2 rows and 3 columns. So we've got to make sure we know which is which. That's the most important thing. All right, so for the one that goes the fastest is the columns. That's ABC. So the one that goes slower is the rows. So row in range of 1, because we want to start at 1, up to num rows plus 1, because we started at 1. Okay, now we're going to do a few little tricks here. You will need to declare more variables. Oh, really? Oh, really? Okay.
Who are you talking
So
to?
I'm talking to Zybooks.
Ah,
For call in range, and there I'm just going to do num calls. So notice it's very different. All right. So I'm going to print. Let's see, and I need to do a little bit of formatting because there's no space between 1 and A. So I'm gonna do, oops, I'm not clicked there, here. And this is gonna be an integer. And this is gonna be a string. And then I can say, whoops, format, and that is going to be the row. And then how do we turn a number into a letter, I wonder? So there's a couple of functions that were in the reading early on. One of them is called ord, and the other is called CHR. So watch this. The ordinal of A, no, it's capital letters, plus the column. So I turned the letter A into its numeric representation, and I added it to the number C. And now I'm going to turn that back into a letter. And then, let's see, where does that, okay, comma, end equals space. There, let's try that. See how lucky I get. That's what I was saying, Vincent. You will need to declare more variables. And I said, ha, ha, I say, I don't need no more stinking variables.
oh, I see what you mean.
So here's what I did. I recognized that the letter A has a numeric value. And since it has a numeric value, I can count on the fact that that numeric value for the letter A plus 0 is an A, plus 1 is a B, plus 2 is a C, and so on. So I used that. So I turned the letter A into its numeric representation. Are you able to see where I highlighted in blue? Good. Not like on the projector, which hides the blue. So here I turned the letter A into its numeric value and then added the column number and then turned the sum back into a letter. The old man's been around the block once or twice before. Elena, how are you doing? Do you like this solution?
Thank you. That helps.
Okay. Now I wonder what other variables they thought I needed.
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah.
hold on.
Okay. Now remember, Vincent, you can go back to the video
Oh,
recording.
yeah. Yeah, I
So
forgot.
don't stress yourself. Don't worry, you can get it down later.
Oh, good idea. Thank you.
Okay, so other questions? Anybody? Okay, so let me check the chat. There's something new there. And I'll just send a response. Let me check my calendar. So the answer is yes. Okay. All right, and where am I? Okay, so if you would please get ready to program something. And I will share my editor. Okay. And let's see, new. Let me open a directory. I think I have an 1100 here. Do I? No, I'll make an 1100. And I'll open that. Okay. So I'm going to make a new file. And I'll call that shuffle.py. No Python interpreter. Okay, select one. I can do that. I'll take this one. Okay. So today we're starts getting more serious about our programming. So the first change I'd like you to make is okay. The first change I want you to make is instead of writing what's called naked code like this. Okay, so that's naked code. So when Python starts reading your code, it encounters this statement and executes it immediately. So that's not actually ideal because the same way that you use import, so let's say import random, things like that, you can also import your own code into other programs that you write. So naked code gets executed immediately, and that's probably not what you want. So I'm going to show you how to write code that can be imported. It's more professional way to do it, and I'd like you to do this from now on. So instead of writing naked code, declare a function, possibly called main, and put your code in the function. And then do the following, which is naked code. So if the name of this program is main with underscores, then call your function. Okay. So let's try this out. Python 3 shuffle. It works. So the name of this this program is underscore underscore main underscore underscore. So now if you were to import this code into another program, which just for yucks, I'll show you, I'll demonstrate. So let's see, make another, and I'll say import. Okay, so from shuffle.py, import main. And now I'll call main. And I'll also, this is naked code. Yes, I know, but I'm doing this just for an example. So print out the name and then call main. So let's see if I can now, I'll call this test.py. From, let's see, so from shuffle. Okay, so it's not shuffle.py, it's just shuffle. So Python 3. Now I'm running test.py. I'm not running shuffle. Okay, wrong Python. So here's the output of shuffle. So notice that, let me make it perfectly obvious. So print, this is shuffle. So if I run shuffle again, notice it says this is shuffle. But if I run test, we're not going to see that part. Okay, so by doing this, by creating a function that, by testing if the name of this program is main, what you're doing is you're finding out whether or not you've been imported into another program. And if you have not been imported into another program, then name will have this value and you can run your program as you expect. Okay, so I'd like you to do that in the future. And I've explained why. Okay, so now we can forget about test. We're not going to use test anymore. Let's see. Let's create a list, for example, like a deck. And the deck is going to have 52 entries in it. So let's print deck and see what we get. And I can eliminate this. Okay, so let's run that and see what we get. Okay, we've got 52, a list with 52 zeros in it. And you know what? In fact, I'm gonna do this a slightly different way with better style. I'm gonna say deck equals create deck. And I'll make another function. Def create deck. And I'll say, whoops, D equals, and what I just eliminated. And now for, well, how about this? I in range of 52, or how about this? Let's make it a little bit better. The length of D, which is 52. D sub I equals I. Whoops. So now bingo runs from 1. So I'll say I plus 1. That way the first value is a 1. and return D. Okay, so Python starts reading here. It says def, okay, let me remember this code, but not execute it. Then it gets here, says def, okay, let me remember this code, but not execute it. And then we get to line 12, it says, if the program I'm running is this one, then call main. Main starts running. The first thing it does is call create deck. Create deck starts running. It creates a list with 52 zeros. And then it's going to put I into D sub I, which really doesn't add anything. In other words, initializes two consecutive values. And then finally, return the list to the caller. All right. So let's run this one. And instead of zeros, I expect to see 1 through 52. There we are. Now you're creating a bingo deck. So it'd be 75 numbers. I'm doing make-believe a deck of cards. Same thing. Now I'd like to shuffle the deck. And to do that, I'm going to say from random import shuffle. And here is souffle. Now I always forget how to use shuffle. So let's try this first and see if I forgot.
Is it like shuffleboarding? Get it?
No, it's like shuffling a deck.
Oh. Oh,
Watch what
right,
happens.
right. Shuffleboarding's a whole different game.
Okay, so yep, I called it wrong. And instead, it should be called like this. Shuffle. Oh, okay. D. No, I'm still getting it wrong. Shuffle D and return D. Let me see if I got it right this time. There we go. Okay. So shuffle takes a list and it reorders them at random, just like shuffling a deck. So you need to create a bingo card. So you would create for the bees, make believe it's a deck of 1 to 15. And then you shuffle it, take the first 5. And you can put that into each of the bees. For the eyes, take a deck, make a deck that has the values of 16 to 30. Shuffle it and put the first 5 into the eyes. And so on. Now, then you need 75 balls in a random order. So notice what I did here is here's 52 integers from 1 to 52. you would be doing 1 to 75. But notice they're in A, a random order, and B, no repeats. Now, one member of the class asked me how to do this to ensure that there are no repeats via email, I think it was, and we've just gone over that answer.
Yeah, that was me. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about shuffling? Anybody? Okay. Let me just, so that the camera can record, the recording can record all of the code. All right. Now, the next thing that the other new material that I'd like to go over is the how to read data from files. Okay. So let's create another program. We'll call this readfile.py. Okay. And once more, we don't want to write naked code anymore. So I'm just going to grab this and put it here. Obviously, we're not creating the deck anymore. Here's how you create an empty function, which means this question was not on the actual test, but it was on the practice test. How do you make a stub of a function? Well, I just did it. Here is a function stub. It doesn't do anything. And I put it there just so that my Python would be correct. All right, now I want to write how to read from a file. Now, files, you know what files are. They are named bags of storage that are persistent. So named, that's obvious. File has a name. It's persistent, meaning that once it's written to the disk, it stays there. Come back tomorrow, the file is still there. So now we're going to learn how to read from a file. And it's actually quite straightforward. So reading from a file, you'll have to open the file. We are not today going to learn how to make sure the file opened, but that's a good thing to do. We're not going to learn that today. Then you will read from the file, and then finally close the file. Okay? So the file, the open file will be represented by a variable, and I can give it any name I want. So how about file in, oin, in. And I'm going to say open, and then I'm going to give the name, go away, please. I'm going to give the name of the file to open. And you know what? Let's do something weird. We'll just read this file. The program's in a file. So let's read that file. Kind of recursive, huh? All right. And now I would like to read the entire file all at once. Everything equals file in dot read. And now I'll close the file. That was one of the on line 6. I said that's something I should do. So file in dot close. And now print everything. So if I did this correctly, when I run this, we'll see the source code to this program. Okay, so Python 3 for me. And what did I call it? Read file. Oh, look at that. See? It printed itself. Okay, so let me make some notes here. File.read reads everything. So all the lines, the entire file. Okay. But let's say we wanted to read one line at a time. Oh, let me pause. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
I'm getting an error on mine. It's like I have the file in equals open read file.py, and it's saying no such file or directory.
Yeah, I'm having the same thing.
Oh, maybe, well, let's see what happens when I go through this. Instead of the terminal that I used, let me push the triangle here. Ah, it still works. Okay. The other thing that I did is I opened this directory. If you recall, I opened the directory that I'm in. That could be a difference. But tell you what, in Visual Studio Code, so you probably have something that looks like this, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so say Command or Control J. And now you might have something that looks similar to this if you're on a Mac, or a different type, a different look to your terminal if you're on Windows.
Yep.
So I'm confused, Professor. It says for me, file in isn't like it's got the red line underneath. Like, am I supposed to set that as a variable or something? I'm like confused.
Yeah, so look at the code that you have on screen right now.
I have
See,
that.
file in is assigned the results of open. Okay, now, if you're on Windows, let's see, it was Joe who's having a difficulty, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so on Windows, type in dir, which for the Mac is not going to work, but for Windows it will. And do you see, I'm going to assume no, readfile.py.
I have my initial directory split into like multiple folders.
Uh-huh.
So I'm seeing like the names of the folders, but like not readfile.py.
Okay. So go to File and open the folder where you wrote readfile.py. Do you know which folder you did that in?
Yeah.
And now then try your triangle.
Oh,
Once it works?
Yep.
Good. Was Joe M having the same problem? Okay, anybody else having a problem?
I'm still having the read file. I believe I have everything correctly that you failed file and close.
Okay, so does it say the file couldn't be found or it doesn't exist?
Right, yeah, and I made sure to save read file.py. I'm just no such file or directory. I'm on Windows.
Okay, you're on Windows.
I think I tried dir. It brings up a number of folders, or a number of folders.
Okay, so let's say, do you know which folder you used to create read file?
It's weird. It's like, oh, okay, I see. I think I put it in downloads. Yep.
Okay, so do dir, and for you, I guess it would be a capital letter downloads.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
And then this, of course, on a Mac is not going to work, but you should be able to see, once you see readfile.py, then we know what to do.
Okay.
Okay, so when you do that dir, do you see it?
I'm looking here. It seems like the dates are all kind of out of whack. There's a lot
Okay,
here.
let's ignore the dates because that's not our problem right now. That's a different, that's a you
I'll try
problem.
Control F. I'll try Control F. Let's see. File. Oh, here. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, so it's in downloads.
Yes.
Okay, so then go to back into Visual Studio Code, File, Open, and navigate to Downloads.
Right. Yeah. Isn't that already the file that we're working on though? Read file.py.
Right, you're not, you're opening the directory that the file is in.
Okay.
And then your triangle will start working. And also it will find the file.
Yeah, I tried opening the file. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Must
don't
be missing
open the
something.
file, open the directory.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Okay. So if you've assigned an open file to a particular variable, in this case, filein.read reads the entire file. But suppose you want to read the file one line at a time. So we can do it this way. So for a line in file in, print the line. And we eliminate that. Okay. So here's a for loop. And the for loop will terminate when it has read the last line, after it's read the last line.
That's really cool. Is it cool if I see the top part of the code?
What?
Like, it's minimized for me. Oh.
Oh, I think I see where I might have gone wrong.
Okay. Now, here's the output, and there is something different. There's something that I didn't expect, or did I? Maybe I'm just saying that because I'm a professor. Notice there's a blank line between every line. And that's because reading line by line using this technique is reading in the new line character at the end of the line. And then when I call print, I'm getting a second new line character. And that's why there's a blank between each line. So we can fix this two ways. One is we can say, don't print the second new line. So let's run that. And I fixed it. That's one way of fixing it. But another way of fixing it would be to say line dot strip. And now let's run the program. And I'll say line equals line dot strip. And oh my, not only did that remove the new lines, but it also removes the tabs. Ooh. Well, that's not really what I want. So let me try something called R strip. Let's try that. Let's see what we get. Aha. So R strip strips the new line from the end. But strip strips new lines and other white space from both the beginning and the end. Now, strip and R strip were described in the chapter that we've read a long time ago on strings. If you want to read up on that. Okay, does anybody have any questions about this so far?
For me, my thing keeps like it's not showing in the directory. I'm a bit confused on that one.
All right. Would you be willing to share your screen?
I'm not,
So
so I'm
what?
I'm writing the code on my MacBook and then using my PC as like
You're okay. You're writing your code on the MacBook, but are you saying that you're using Zoom on your PC?
yeah.
Okay, then I guess you can't show your screen.
Is it cool if I see the bottom part again? Maybe I don't think I wrote that part, like the underscore main. And then-
Sure. Here it comes. And there. All right, are you able to see it?
yeah.
All right, so I'm going to add a little bit more to my documentation here. Okay, so there's that.
And I also have a problem.
Okay, Mary, can you tell me about your problem?
I mean, I'm also on a Windows, but whenever I try to run the program, it doesn't do anything. Like, it doesn't send me an error message, it just blanks.
Okay. Would you be willing to share your screen?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just a minute.
so make sure we don't see anything we're not supposed to see.
I don't have anything up like that, so.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
sorry, a lot of it's comments, but
All right. And push your triangle. And okay. So this is readfile.py. And what you executed was readfile.py, but it didn't produce any output. So in your terminal window down below. Can you click in there?
Like in here.
No, in the terminal window there. Yeah. So type dir. And read file is there. So let's dig a little deeper for line in file and print line. So it's almost as if, can you, while you're still in that window, can you type in Python space read file.py? And hit enter? Cool. All right. Oh, I see the problem. On line 14, it should be 2 underscores on each side of main. Okay, try that. Save it and yep,
Okay.
there you go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so
I
you'll
can
stop
figure out
sharing
what
now
to share.
and I'll share. It's nice to share. Okay,
Sharing is caring.
yep. Except when it comes to COVID.
Yeah.
All right, so we've learned one way of reading everything all at once. We've learned another way of reading one line at a time. Let's learn a third way, which will read the entire file at once, but turn it into a list. So that would be done by, and everybody, we've got the recording now. So as I delete, if you want, you can go back and refer to the recording. So I'm going to delete that stuff and say all of the lines are equal to file in dot read lines, plural. File in. Okay. And now I'm going to do something else. I'm going to say there are okay, let's try that. So what read lines is going to do is read the entire file, but each line will go into its own entry in a list. So this variable here is going to be turned into a list, and each item in the list will be one line from the file. Okay, ready? And there we are. There are 17 lines in the file. Let's see if that's true. Line 18 is blank, so I didn't get the blank line. Okay, now just for fun, let's print. Let's prove to ourselves that lines is in fact a list. And there you are. Now it's got see the list notation. So there's a bracket, meaning list. First line is empty. The second line has this. The third line has this. And you see how the end of every line is backslash and n. That's the new line. Okay, so we've learned 3 different ways of reading from a file. There's a lot more to know. For example, we haven't looked at how to write a file. We will do that later in the semester, and once we do that, it's the first person to overwrite their own code wins a prize. So that's why I don't introduce writing right away, because once you open a file for writing, without doing anything special, if you just open it in the basic way for writing, it's gone. The previous contents is kaplooey. I didn't want that to happen. Let's see, I'm gonna check my attendance for a moment because I see someone that I think maybe I had marked as absent. But I have to move Zoom all over the place. How do they manage to write something that predicts the future? Where I want to write is where I want to read is where they place their windows. Okay, so I am correcting the attendance to show that one additional person is here. Now let me look through. Okay, so Anthony, you're marked correctly as being present.
Thank you.
Okay. Now am I sharing a screen? What screen am I sharing? I forgot. Okay, here I am. So we have learned. Let me write down a comment for this one. Okay. All right, do we have any questions? You have any questions about bingo? And refresh my memory, please. When is bingo due?
Tonight.
Tonight.
Okay. Now remember, if you need some extra time, take some extra time. Notice I have not uploaded another project for you to do yet. So if you haven't finished bingo, then keep working on it. All right, so if there are no questions about the work we looked at for bingo, or no questions about reading from a file, we can call it a day a few minutes early.
Could I speak with you after class?
Yeah, so you want to just stay on?
Yeah, I'm really confused on why it's not working for me.
Okay, now there was somebody else who wanted to talk to me at 4. Was that you?
No, that was me. I'm cool with it though. He can, ask first. It's
Oh,
cool.
well, I'm meeting with you later today for the advisor thing anyway, so it's like it would be fun with me if he goes first.
Okay, why don't we wait till advising, because you're my last advising appointment, Jez. So we can take as much time as you need.
All right, perfect.
Okay, and Sam, how about you stay on?
Gotcha.
Okay, all right, so we'll call it a class and we'll see you on Wednesday. And everybody drop off except for Sam, and I'll hear what Sam has to say.
I have a question. When will the next programming assignment be assigned?
Probably Friday. I want to give you some more time to work on bingo.
Okay.
Okay. Kind of like into that question. Like, do you want us to have bingo finished by tonight, or could we like take an extra few days on it if we need to like clean up stuff?
Yeah, take an extra few days.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, thanks.
You have a good day, sir. Thank
You
you.
too, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, Joe, do you have, okay, bye, Joe. And so, okay, so I'm gonna stop recording.
For sure.